So, let's discuss a trope so dangerous it should come with a government health warning: the childhood best friend, specifically the pink haired variety. In a world of visual novels, pink hair is essentially a biological indicator for catastrophic emotional pain. If a girl is bubbly, sweet, and grew up next door to the protagonist, she is statistically 90% more likely to be hiding a void of existential despair. And I just want to say, Xander, if you're watching this, wait, no, I know you're watching this. If I see the words, gently open the door, tied to Daisy's route in Chapter 2, I will be filing for monetary compensation for emotional damages. With Chapter 1 of the Cooking Club officially out on Steam and Chapter 2 launching on March 27th, we finally have enough evidence to start peeling back the layers of flour and frosting. The developers at Studio Z admit they were inspired by the classics, and while I'm praying we don't go full psychological horror, the red flags aren't just waving, they're screaming. We're looking at a pressure cooker of chronic illness, parental neglect, and maybe even some high stakes corporate sabotage. It should be noted, many of these theories I'm presenting today come directly from the stories I was given by Studio Z known as Tales from the Cooking Club. These are short prologue stories about each of our main love interests. I read them on my stream when the first chapter debuted, but I've been thinking about giving each of them a solo reading with no commentary here on the channel. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want to see. But for now, grab your aprons and make sure the microwave is fork free, because today we aren't just looking at our love interests, we're looking at trauma. We're going to predict how the upcoming Chapter 2 cooking competition is going to act as the boiling point that might just cause our girls to crack.
Hey! Chocolate chips are so sweet, so nostalgic. And it's a dessert must have. I remember stealing these from my mom's pantry all the time.
Let's start with Daisy. Every visual novel needs a heart, and Daisy is it. During the club's icebreaker, Evelyn asks each girl to pick a food item that calls to them. Daisy picks a bowl of chocolate chips. She calls them sweet and nostalgic. She shares a fond memory of stealing them from her mother's pantry. Sounds like a cute childhood story, right? Wrong. If we cross reference this with her prologue story, Daisy's Dilemma, we see a much darker picture. Daisy doesn't just like sweets, she craves the distraction of sweets. The story opens with her freezing at her front gate. She describes her home as a place where warmth goes to die. She hears muffled voices, low frustration, and her father's familiar defensive edge. The most haunting line in the entire story is this: Daisy swallowed and lifted her head with a small, gentle smile that she had learned to put on like a coat. Daisy isn't actually happy. She's a performer. She wears a coat of happiness because the environment she lives in is freezing. She is a victim of what psychologists call the peacekeeper child syndrome. She believes that if she is perfectly sweet, perfectly helpful, and perfectly invisible, her parents won't have a reason to fight. This behavior is further confirmed at the festival. We find Daisy watching a group play volleyball, the very sport her leader, Evelyn, excels at. When the MC asks why she isn't playing, she says she doesn't want to ruin their rhythm. This is a massive red flag. She feels like an inherent disruption to other people's happiness. When pressed, her normal spark is dulled. She admits she thinks her parents are finally getting a divorce. She's been hearing them argue in the kitchen since she was a kid, ignoring it, hoping they'd remember why they liked each other. But lately, silence. Not even fighting anymore. Daisy wonders if it's her fault. She tells the MC she shouldn't have begged them to come to her basketball games. The MC's narration reveals she's actually made the team last year, but her parents would only ever show up for 15 minutes separately before leaving. This is the definition of conditional love. Daisy thinks she has to earn their presence, and since they're leaving, she thinks she failed the test. The cooking competition will be a trigger. In chapter 1, Daisy spiraled after the microwave incident, apologizing to Isabella, the stern, authoritative figure, first. Daisy is terrified of cold demeanors because it's what she is used to at home. So making sure that Isabella, my icy queen, is not unhappy with her is quite heartbreaking because we see very quickly that it confuses Isabella.
I'm really sorry again, Isabella. I know you know, come from a place where all of this stuff is common knowledge. And I'm just a klutz. I'm not a super talented chef or have family known for baking and stuff. I'm sorry for ruining today's session for you.
It's fine. You're rather lucky, though, that I've had years of practice cleaning kitchen disasters.
Somebody else's? Or your own?
Don't push it. Just be more careful next time.
I will. Promise.
In chapter 2, the competition stress, the noise, the high stakes, the judgment is going to shred her coat. I'm predicting that right as the competition is reaching its peak, the divorce papers will be finalized at home. Daisy will experience a total ego death in the kitchen, believing her failure at cooking is the final reason her family, her club, is falling apart. She will go from peacekeeper to saboteur, not out of malice, but out of belief that she doesn't deserve to be a part of the rhythm.
All right, everyone. Since we've officially got a full team, I thought we could start today with a little icebreaker.
An icebreaker? What kind?
You each pick one thing from the lineup. Don't think too hard. Just pick whatever feels right to you.
Next is Evelyn, the engine. In the icebreaker, she picks the game itself, asking others to define themselves through food. This is a classic leader move, creating structure because she's terrified of what happens when things are messy. In her story, Evelyn's Strength, we see her in the gym. The crowd is roaring. She is the pride of Ashridge. But when that whistle blows, she's hiding in the counselor's office. She admits she feels like a mascot rather than a person. She lives for the heat and pressure because it's the only time she doesn't have to be the perfect daughter. Evelyn is a high functioning anxiety case. She tells the MC at the festival that she loves the mess of the event because it reminds her that life doesn't always have to be perfect. She admits her schedule is possessed. She is the volleyball captain and club president and hasn't taken a break since last year. She admits that while people say she's good at being the leader, she wishes she didn't always have to have the answers. She admits, I can't let people see when I don't believe my own pep talks. What's fascinating is that after running into the Blackthorn bullies again, Daisy tells Evelyn, we see you. It's a moment of profound connection. The club members don't see the captain, they see the girl who's messy and not perfect. The cooking club is her only safe haven. Blackthorn Academy is the primary antagonist of Chapter 2. In her prologue, we see Blackthorn students cornering Evelyn and calling her a nobody. Facing them in a cooking duel is Evelyn's worst nightmare because she has moved the battlefield from the court to the kitchen. I'm predicting that the rival girl, confirmed to have a romantic history with one of the girls, is Evelyn's ex. This rival knows exactly where Evelyn's engine is weakest. This rival will use the competition to prove that Evelyn's perfect leader persona is a fraud. Evelyn will try to hyper control the club to win, leading to a massive blowout where she alienates her friends, leaving her completely alone on the stage when she inevitably fails to live up to her own impossible standards. She will have to learn that being the leader doesn't mean having the answers. It means being okay with being messy in front of people who actually see her.
Eggs are the foundation of most dishes I know. They're simple yet essential to the culinary world. You can't make much without them.
I like that. A classic choice. Structured and solid. Just what I would expect. It's very you, Isabella.
Then we have Isabella, the Ice Queen. In the icebreaker, she picks an egg. She says it is the foundation of most dishes. You can't make anything without it. Isabella doesn't see herself as human. She sees herself as a structural support beam for the Castell name. In Isabella's oath, we see the Castell estate. A- It's a palace of mahogany and crystal chandeliers. Her father, Marcellus, is a stone faced titan. Her mother, Vivian, is a PR face who rarely smiles at home. Isabella sits alone at a table built for 20. She's a prodigy being groomed, not a child being raised. At the festival, we watch her play horseshoes alone. She's driven, not competitive, an important distinction for someone who isn't allowed to show desperation. She admits the cooking club is different because Evelyn is building a home, not a resume. When asked about her future, she goes cold. She says inheriting the legacy is the plan, but admits she wants something smaller, a personal cafe or something not related to food. She asks the MC, "Do you ever feel everyone else has a map and you're still trying to find the starting point?" The Chapter 2 competition is almost certainly going to be judged or sponsored by Castell Confectionaries. This is the conflict of interest to end all conflicts. Isabella is the egg holding the club together, but her father is the one who owns the pan. I'm predicting that Marcellus Castell will give Isabella an ultimatum. Perhaps sabotage the cooking club to ensure a Castell sponsored professional team wins, or maybe even if her team doesn't win, she can't be in the club anymore. Isabella will have to choose between the oath of her heritage and the home she has found in the club. If she chooses the club, she loses her future. If she chooses her future, she loses her club. This choice will likely happen in the middle of a high pressure situation, perhaps even when the ingredient itself, eggs, symbolizes her own fragile foundation.
Potatoes. Potatoes.
Peculiar, yet interesting. Why potatoes?
They're timeless, comforting. You can adjust them however you like and want, and they'll still taste like home.
Finally, we have Akemi, the most mysterious member. In the icebreaker, she picks a potato. Yeah, a potato. And she says they're timeless, comforting, and taste like home. For a girl who feels like a ghost, she picks the most grounded food on earth. In Akemi's Oddities, we find her in an exam room that is too white, too bright. She stares at the ceiling tiles because there are stars she can escape into. She is distant, fogged over, unreachable, her mother's sigh, persistent, humming, inescapable. This is a textbook case of chronic illness, like chronic fatigue syndrome. Akemi lives her life according to spoon theory. Every interaction costs her energy she doesn't have, and at the festival she shows up late and admits to being dizzy. She's a frequent flyer of the nurse's office and even brings up her blood sugar issues, which is something that people with chronic fatigue syndrome often have to deal with. But what stands out to me most is her calling music noise and that she doesn't understand the sentiment, along with her take on memories, which I'll play that scene right now so you can really see it because it hits so well.
Funny how people get so sentimental over noise. Yeah, that. I don't get it. You listen, you forget. It fades. What makes it so special? Why does it make me care so much? Yeah, that. I don't get it. You listen, you forget. It fades. What makes it so special? Why does it make me care so much? That's poetic. Memories are weird like that. They only have value because you can't repeat them. Maybe. Or maybe we just give meaning to things so they hurt less when they're gone.
But for those who have played the game, I did notice at the end of chapter 1, Akemi is listening to music on her earbuds. Maybe perhaps trying to find the meaning the MC was talking about? Like she's trying to connect. But ultimately, Akemi is bracing for a crash. The physical and mental strain of a high speed cooking competition is the ultimate energy drain. I'm predicting that in the middle of the final round, of the competition, perhaps Akemi will suffer a medical collapse. She knows her time in the outside world is limited and she's trying to store up memories of the club before her health forces her to leave it behind. She isn't predicting the club will fail, she's predicting that she will be the one who can't finish. Her disappearance will be the catalyst that breaks the group's spirit, as the other girls realize how much Akemi was sacrificing just to sit in the same room as them. Now, let's talk about the rival girl. Studio Z has confirmed that she's the leader of the Blackthorn Academy bullies and has a romantic history with one of the girls. Based on the story Evelyn's strength, I am betting everything on Evelyn. The rival represents the aggressive leadership that Evelyn suppresses. While Evelyn is the mascot, the rival is the mercenary. I'm predicting the rival knows everything about Evelyn's anxiety and will possibly use the competition to trigger a panic attack on stage. Think about the psychological warfare here. You have Daisy, who is reeling from her parents' impending divorce and ready to blame herself for any failure. Evelyn, who might be stalked by this ex girlfriend who knows exactly how to make her mask slip, Isabella, possibly being pressured by the most powerful man in the industry, and Akemi, whose body is literally shutting down from exertion. This isn't a cooking competition, it's a gauntlet of trauma. The rival girl won't be just a hurdle, she is the mirror showing each girl the part of themselves they're most afraid of. But that isn't all I have to talk about. There are some more details that I'd like to bring up. Specifically, Daisy's basketball history. In the festival scene, the MC notes that Daisy was a player, but her parents never supported her. Why is this in the script? Because Chapter 2 features a competition. In visual novels, skills are never just flavor text. Daisy's basketball coordination and Evelyn's volleyball instincts might just be pitted against each other. My theory, Evelyn is going to try to run the kitchen like a sports team, and Daisy, who associates sports with her parental neglect and not being good enough, is going to have a PTSD style trigger. Evelyn will shout a command, and Daisy will nearly hear her mother's sharp tones. That is the moment the recipe for disaster finally boils over. We see this foreshadowed in how Daisy refuses to join the volleyball game at the festival. She isn't just wanting to ruin the rhythm, she's avoiding a trigger. The kitchen, with its heat and shouting, is the worst place for someone who uses a coat of smile to survive. And let's go back to Akemi's potato. It seems simple, but in the context of chapter 2, it might be vital. A potato is timeless. It survives underground. It's hardy. In chapter 2, when Akemi inevitably crashes, the club is going to have to decide possibly what they value more, the trophy or the member. Akemi picked the potato because it tastes like home, and the MC's mission in chapter 2 might be to show Akemi that she doesn't have to be timeless to be precious. She just has to be present. I'm predicting a scene where MC has to choose between finishing a dish or helping Akemi to the infirmary. If the MC picks a dish, it might just be a bad ending trigger for the entire game. Visual novels love these moral dilemmas, and using Akemi's physical frailty as a timer for the player's choices is a genius, if cruel, gameplay mechanic. And we cannot ignore Isabella's father. Marcellus is described as a stone. He is the personification of the map Isabella is trying to find the starting point for. In chapter 2, I believe Marcellus will maybe be a guest judge. This puts Isabella in a sort of checkmate position. If she cooks well, she proves she belongs in the corporate world she hates. If she cooks poorly, she shames the Castell name and gets pulled from the school. The only way out? Isabella has to cook something that isn't Castell, something messy and human like the club itself. Again, I'm predicting her dish in chapter 2 will be an intentional egg dish that is technically flawed but emotionally resonant, a declaration of independence written in flour and salt. Four girls, four masks, and one rival ready to tear them all down. Chapter 2 is going to be a masterclass in emotional destruction. The developers didn't give us these tales just for flavor text. They gave them as a warning. We see the cracks starting to form. Daisy's coat is thinning. Evelyn's engine is overheating. Isabel's foundation is shaking. And Akemi's battery is at 1%. But maybe that's the point. Maybe they need to break so they can finally stop pretending. In the world of the cooking club, you have to break an egg to make a foundation. Let's just hope that when the smoke clears in chapter 3, there's still a club left to save. So, what do you think? Is the rival girl the key to Evelyn's past, or is Akemi's health the real ticking clock? Is Daisy the heart of the club, or its inevitable breaking point? Let me know in the comments. And if you are as worried about Daisy as I am, type save the best friend below. But hey, that's just a theory, a cooking club theory. Thanks for watching.